Hi everyone, it's Stephanie. I'm here with a quick spinning tutorial. Today I wanted to take the merino and angora that we carded together on our hand cards and made into Rolags, and I wanted to show you how to do a long draw. Long draw is a spinning technique where you allow twist to enter into your fiber supply and then to pull that fiber onto the wheel, okay? What this does is create a woolen type of spinning because you're not compressing the air out of your fiber. Instead, when the twist goes into your fiber supply here, it jumbles all of the fibers that are already jumbled together. Remember, we carded this, so the fibers are not parallel like this. Instead, they are jumbled together like this, where there's already pockets of air trapped in between those fibers. So when the twist comes into the fiber supply, that air is still in there. It's not compressed or pressed out. So this is going to be a great way to spin a nice, lofty, warm yarn. So what I've got here, I've already done a little bit of spinning on this because I wanted to see how it would turn out before I showed you all. And I'm on my shot match list today, simply because my Echo has some of the thick and thin that I was spinning the other day. It's still on there, and I'm getting ready to ply it, so that will probably be the next video. We'll be plying the thick and thin that we did a tutorial on just the other day. So today I'm on my match list, and I am going to just dive right into it. I've already done quite a bit of spinning. I want to say this amount that's on this bobbin right now, this is probably a good, I don't know, 4 or 5 Rolags. And I spun both ways. I did do some just forward draw, inching along, and then I thought, no, that's not really what I want for this yarn. I'm just gonna do a long draw. And when I decided that, I thought, well, let's just film it and show everybody. So the first thing I've got to do, I've got my Rolag here, and I am not drafting it out because that is what, I will draft it a little, but it's not going to be an extreme amount of drafting because that's what's going to happen when the twist enters the fiber supply. Right now, I'm just doing a join so that my current fiber supply joins up with my new fiber supply. So now it's joined together. I also want to tell you I am spinning this a little bit thicker than I typically would. I have been in the mood to spin thin yarns recently, but this one is going to be a little bit thicker, and I think it would be really pretty as a hat or a nice thick pair of mittens. It's also not, I'm not making sure this is very even. Instead, I am purposely letting the yarn be uneven in places. This is intentional because I want to create a nice kind of rustic looking yarn. So right now I am pinching together where the twist is in front of my pinched fingers here and the fiber supply is behind my pinched fingers. To start the long draw, what I'm going to do is my control hand is the hand that's in front. I will not be pinching off the twist, except if I want to maybe control the diameter or the smoothness of the yarn that's in front of me. Instead, once I start treadling, I'm going to let go here and let the twist travel back into the fiber supply, which is this Rolag that I'm holding in my right arm, right hand, and I'm going to just pull back on that. So as I'm pulling back slightly, and let me mention too, as I pull back, I'm not gripping the fiber like this. Instead, I'm going to let the fiber rest in my hand, hold it gently like this, so that my hands aren't even clenched together like this. I'm not even letting my fingers touch the palm of my hand. Instead, I'm just sort of resting the fiber here. And when I pull, it will really be, or when I draft, it'll really be this little finger here. You see how the fiber supply is kind of over top of my hand, and I've got my little finger like this. My little finger ends up being the finger that is closest to the palm of my hand, and that is going to be the way that I draft or pull back, okay? So let me just get started and dive into this. So I'm pulling back, and here we go. Whoops, I let go too soon. And you see that happens, okay? I am not a long draw expert at all. Here we go though. So I'm pulling back. I am not doing anything with my front finger except for helping kind of, see like right here, I'm doing sort of quality control with this front hand. This bit of fiber was a little bit too thick as it went in, even though I am wanting a nice rustic homespun look to this yarn. This ended up being a little bit too much, so I pinched, and I'm going to pull back, draft a little bit, and then I'll let go and let the twist enter in. And I still have a thick bit right here, if you can see it, but it's not quite as thick. So here we go, let's get going again. So what we're doing is, I'm gonna try and get my hands closer to the camera here. I am just really not stopping the twist from coming into my fiber supply. You see, it's just kind of running through here. But again, you can see this better now. I have a spot right here that is a little bit too thin, so I'm going to untwist. And the reason this is happening is because I'm slowing down to show you all what I'm doing. So now I can let go, let that twist come through, and I'm trying to make sure also that you can see what I'm doing here. But this is really all there is to long draw. Now I do not spin this way very often, but it's a very fast way of spinning. It's basically all you're doing is acting as quality control or a guide. You are guiding the fiber onto or through the orifice. You are not really doing much of anything except making sure your yarn is the diameter that you want it to be. See, I'm not stopping the twist from going back here to my fiber supply or my fiber source at all. So here I'm at the end already of that roll-ag, and I have to move this down. So I'm gonna get a second roll-ag, draft out just a bit so that I can combine or join the new fiber source. And I've got my wheel set up right now so that there is quite a bit of pull, because I don't want this fiber sitting back here not being pulled onto the wheel while the twist is just building up and building up and building up. That would create corkscrews in my fiber, and I don't want that. So, as you can see, you can get going really fast with this, with using long draw. It's a very productive way to spin. Look, I'm almost finished with this roll-ag already in the amount of time we've been talking. I will say that if you are a perfectionist with your yarn, this is probably not the way that I would recommend spinning. But if you're fine with letting go of some of the control, now I am way back here with my fiber source. That is the one thing that you do have to watch when you are doing long draw, is that your hand here that's holding your fiber source tends to move back, and you can quickly run out of space. So I'm just continuing on. I'm gonna let the fiber get pulled onto the wheel as I go. And I'm holding the fiber way back here I'm not holding, hold on just a second. We're at the end of this roll lag already again. See, it's very fast, but I want to show you where I am holding my fiber source. Basically, I am not, in my right hand, I'm not holding it up here where I would be if I was doing a short forward draw. Instead, I'm holding it back here so that I don't unintentionally stop the twist from entering into the fiber. Let me join these and then I will be able to show you. Okay, so see, I'm letting the fiber go through. I'm holding it way back here. See, I'm way back here, halfway back here with the roll lag. And I am just letting the twist from my wheel pull the fiber out. And it is very fast. I'm almost finished with this roll lag again. It's very fast. It is great for creating a woolen spinning or a woolen yarn. It is also great if you want to finish a project quickly and you want a rustic look. Let me try and get you a little bit closer here. You see how, I see there's a glare on there, but it's not a perfectly smooth yarn. And that's what I wanted for this. If I wanted a perfectly smooth yarn, I would not be spinning this way. Instead, I would do a short forward draw. Now, it can get a little bit tougher as you get to the end of your fiber supply because you don't have as much distance between your front hand and your back hand. So you might have to do a little bit more of a traditional short draw so that you don't stop the twist from entering your fiber source. But what I do then is I just hold it like this. My fiber source hand, my right hand, I'm just holding the very end. And now I'm pinching, of course, to make sure the twist doesn't go into my fiber supply. But once I let go of this hand and this twist, this front part, let me get closer. So I'm gonna let go now. Okay, so now the twist has come back here into my fiber source. I'm gonna undo a little bit. And so I'm just going to pull back. Now this is a little bit too much here, so I'm just going to adjust it. But I'm pulling back and I'm letting the twist build up. And essentially, that's all there is to doing a long draw technique. It does take a lot of practice. It's not a method that I use a lot when I'm spinning, but something about this yarn it spoke to me and said that it wanted to be spun this way. And I think it's going to make a beautiful yarn once it is all finished. Let me show you what it looks like when I ply it back on itself. This one I'm just going to do as a 2-ply yarn, but look at this nice, thick yarn that we'll have. Let me see if I can get in close here. Let me see. Won't that be pretty? You see it, honestly, some of the thick and thin spots smooth out. You can see that this spot right here is a little thin compared to up here is thicker, but when I let the yarn twist back on itself, a lot of that ends up being smoothed out. So it'll still be a rustic looking yarn. You can see up there, the front is a little bit, but it won't be quite the difference that you might be expecting since you're not putting that much effort into controlling your twist going into your fiber source. So I hope this was helpful. Give long draw a shot, give it a try. It's probably a lot easier if you have a longer staple. This is Merino and Angora, and neither one of them were particularly lengthy staples, but it still works. And remember, the worst that can happen is that you end up with a yarn that you don't like, and so what? It's all trial and error. Anyway, post pictures of what you're making, ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. And please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm really trying to grow the channel. I'm thinking about different giveaways we can do eventually, maybe different pattern sharing we can do, different types of interaction back and forth that we can have on this channel here. So until next time, happy spinning. I'm Stephanie Nipper, and thank you for joining me.